Mini Wargamer Dave here from MiniWargaming.com. Welcome, Wargamers, to the Shrine of Chaos. Today we have a very special guest. You may have heard his voice before, you may have seen his face, and if you have, you know that you were part of an epic story because he likes to forge the narrative. Yes, I wanted to throw in an old man joke because I have 3 Nurglings of my own, and I figured it is just an appropriate place to do so. So, Paul Murphy, welcome to the Shrine. How are you?
Dude, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate that. I can appreciate those little old man jokes. I'm an old man myself.
You said it. I didn't disagree, but it's okay because you're in good company. So we're going to talk about something really exciting today. We talked about it a little bit last week, and I think that already went out, but I just wanted to talk about it again. And that's the raffle for the Khorne Army, the Crimson Hunters, that Nova Open is doing. Now, I've provided links in the description to this right now. So if you're watching this, whether it be on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, there are links to that army that they're raffling right now. And so I wanted to talk about the army. I wanted to talk about you, your involvement with it, and just all chaos, all Khorne, all goodness. So where should we start?
Well, let's start out with the Nova Open Charitable Foundation. I mean, they've been doing great works for charities for several years now, and this year's going to be no different. With the largest beneficiaries being the Doctors Without Borders, Breast Cancer Research Foundation, and the Fisher House. So these are some wonderful groups that the money from the raffle tickets goes directly to these organizations. And then on the other side of it, since this is our community, our miniature wargaming community coming together, some folks will have the opportunity. Well, I mean, actually, everybody who gets a ticket has the opportunity, but some folks will win some of these wonderful armies and models and units and experiences that have been donated over to the foundation. And it's absolutely amazing. The quality is going up and up and up every year, and this year's no different.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to respond to some of the comments coming in right now, typically in a Shrine of Chaos, we do giveaways, and that's where you leave comments in the shrine, and you leave, comments in the chat, and we randomly choose one. Today, this is a raffle, not by the Shrine of Chaos, but rather Nova Open is doing a raffle for a World Eater's army, and that's what the shrine is about, just so you guys know, so there's no confusion. And I provided a link in this post right now to that raffle. And in fact, I'm going to show off.
So this army in particular has been painted by multiple contributors, multiple artists, and well-named people, well-known named people that you probably would recognize. So I really encourage people to click into the link and scroll down all the contributing artists, and then make sure they look at all the models you'd receive if you won this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this is the first link in the description shows that we're getting a little bit of competing volumes here, so I'm gonna try to do something here to make it a little better.
We've had to bang on many of the warp drives. I think you probably don't want our Gellerfield intact, but I would prefer it.
People are saying you are anti-quiet. So here, let's try this. That might help a little bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can adjust the little levers and stuff. Thanks for bearing with us. Oh, but you asked me what I do. I'm just basically a voice for the Nova Open Charitable Foundation. And this Saturday, between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be hosting a virtual get-together, closing out these raffles. And so I haven't done anything with the models. Those are all done by some fabulous artists. You're going to want to check them out, even if you're not in a position to really get some tickets right now. At least check out. So put it on your radar for the next time that you actually can. But I just get to talk about it. I get to talk about the art. I get to talk about the cool figures. I get to talk about the stories about what we want to do with the miniatures, what we prefer to do with these things. So that's my role in it, and I definitely encourage you to check them out, just like I do.
So again, those are links provided here in this post. So I've provided 3 links. There's actually more armies that are for raffle. So we have the Crimson Hunters, which is the World Eater's army. But just for a moment, Paul, let's talk about some of the other ones. Let's take a look at the Midwinterminis, Blackstone Fortress.
This is spectacular. Army. So this is all of the Blackstone Fortress expansions and figures that you have the opportunity of winning that were painted by the Midwinterminis.
Yeah, insane. This is so awesome. It's funny because because of how much I was involved with the Crimson Hunters, I was going back and forth communications, and I was so laser focused on that. I, for the first time, am looking more in depth and in detail at the other armies that are being raffled here. So this is, I feel so torn, Paul. I want to buy a gajillion tickets, but at the same time, I want other people a chance to win it too. So,
well, even a little goes a long way, right? You throw your hat in the ring with everybody else, and also you get the confidence knowing that it's going to some great causes. Guy painted all these, as I understand it, and how he painted them and the way he did some of these is documented on his channel. So if it's one of these things, if you're fortunate enough to come away with this and you wanted to add to it, you probably have resources and ways to do that as well. But this is what I love about Blackstone Fortress and games like it, is that it's a way that other people that are not really maybe into the war game aspect of it can still experience the 40K in the Warhammer universe with it. So you can break out like, you don't want to collect 2,000 points of Space Marines, but you'll play this with me, and I love that about the board game side of this.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good gateway. And so this is one of the armies as well. Let's go back. Let's take a look at Duncan's army. So Duncan Rhodes, he has his Custodes here.
Those gold, I'm telling you. I actually did a kind of a pre-show interview with him where he talks about how he did this, and you can actually again follow it. You want, it's one of those things you want to add to it. You can look at the tutorials on the Games Workshop page. You can buy a can of Retributor Gold, and you're basically halfway there. I mean, I'm joking a little bit, of course. You need a lot of technique, and look at the brightness of that force. It is spectacular. Well, that's one of those things that, yeah, you want on your shelf. These are actually absolutely amazing display pieces as well. Each one of the things there's 3 different categories. There's the armies, the units, and then I think the individual models, and then some special stuff. I'm gonna lead you into talking about the special stuff that's up for raffle.
Sure.
This time also, but so
Specials.
you can
which one should I click on here?
I think you'll notice a familiar looking guy if you go on one of those.
Okay, so I'll go on specials. What? All right. Yes.
I want to lead the listeners on a journey with us as well. But
how much do you know about this? About the
just a little. I'm hoping you tell me.
Okay, so yeah. Now that we're talking about it, funny you should mention this, because now we can talk about it a little bit. So
I've been around the way here a time or two.
Okay, so for this one, we're raffling a trip to the bunker, which is 5 days and 4 nights. And basically, you get to come to the bunker, and normally, you have to pay, like a hotel room, you pay for the rooms and pay for the experience. But we're completely raffling it off to a lucky person. Its value is, as you can see right here, a good value because of the amount of time that you're staying and the amount of gamers that it can accommodate. But you'll get 24 access to the 24-hour access to the gaming hall, so you can battle into the wee hours of the morning if you wish, and you can play with us, play an army. You'll need to secure the dates, obviously, before you do anything, but and it is in Canada, so obviously COVID permitting, and we'll make accommodations where needed for that, if we even need to postpone it because of restrictions and whatnot. But yeah, you can bring your own army, or we can provide you with one. Either way, so that's a trip to the bunker here. I'm going to take a look at some of the pictures here.
I definitely wanted to draw attention to this kind of stuff because these are the things. So each one of these models or armies or units or experiences or whatever has been donated by people in an effort to drive awareness to the charities and to the foundation. And I know that the foundation really appreciates it, but it's also a way. We talk about making games accessible. It makes some of these absolute just high quality and impactful experiences and or great looking models and talent accessible to folks that may not have it any other way. And so it's cool to check out. And what I like, I'm going to reference the community aspect of it a lot, is because this has got all kind of people that would not maybe even normally interact with each other coming together for some common goals and common causes. And it's I've been kind of involved with this, at least from this aspect of it. For now, I guess this is the 2nd year. And it's really cool seeing all the people come together.
Yeah, I love the community aspect of it as well. Like it's super cool to see everyone kind of fighting for the same cause. Whether you collect Tau or Chaos, it doesn't matter.
Well, let's talk about chaos if we can jump back to that, because I mentioned that the World Eaters Force is a collection of tons of different artists, and yeah, please check them out. But you got one of your minis hiding out in there.
I do, yes. So here's the Crimson Hunters, and just taking a look at it happens to be the first mini. So this is my Karn the Betrayer that I've been using for a few years now in battle reports and armies. He's part of my personal collection of World Eaters, painted up in this special color scheme. And he is now going to go to a new home. So I'm happy to have donated this. It's a very small contribution, but I was fortunate enough to be part of this project and to write the lore behind the army. And there's a lot of other artists as well that have contributed to the army. I know that Brent from Goobertown, he contributed this Lord Discordant, or one of the Lords Discordants.
And what a complex model, and it is amazing to look at.
There's Lynn Stahl, that's another name that comes to mind as well.
Metalhead minis, yeah.
Yeah. And so here's actually the full list of contributors. So how many of the project artists do you know? Do you know Mike Cho?
I don't. So I don't know everybody personally, but this is one of the things that I've gotten to know them over the doing the course of this and seeing examples of their work. I follow them on Twitter. My Twitter is all hobby folks.
Is it? Yeah.
So I add everything. Like it's full on hobbies. Like whenever I just need a dose of cool looking miniatures, either as a little imagination fuel or motivation to get stuff painted, I'll go and check out my Twitter. So yeah, I get exposure to their works through that way and through things like this.
I got to give another shout out to Jabba Balls, because he's the one who spearheaded the project. He's the one that reached out to me in the first place and contacted me and asked me what army should be assembled and created and painted. And so that was his doing. He was the mastermind behind the scenes. He gathered everyone together and led the communications behind it all. So
that in itself is effort too, because coordinating everyone's schedule, getting all the figures out to where they need to be, getting all the figures back to where they are. It's not a small task.
No, absolutely not. And that time and effort, and really that's a contribution. It's a huge contribution, right? Because if some people there's many ways to contribute, one of which is your time, right? And if you have certain skills and abilities that are good, that's kind of, for me, it's perfect for him because as far as I understand, he's a teacher, right? So it's in terms of logistical communication, that sort of thing, he would naturally be good at that. And so it's just cool. It just fit perfectly.
He's also a great painter. He's been a long-time painter in this hobby. People may know him for his Blood Angels, and I can't go a show without talking about Blood Angels. But he's one of the original Blood Angel painters out there.
He is absolutely. I remember over a decade ago. This must have been like 13 years ago, around there, 13, 14 years ago, that I met him at, where was it? I think it was either a games day. It was probably a games day, and I asked him about Blood Angels. It was an interview that I did with him. And so, because he was the Blood Angels guy, right? He was the first one that I thought of when it came to Blood Angels and painting up Blood Angels and what should be collected and what would be good to start the army. And so he was the one that I asked about that.
Wait, are you asking right now? Because I have some thoughts. I can't not talk about it.
Yeah. Heck, that's my second army of choice. So.
Oh no, I don't want to distract folks from checking out what they're doing right now, because there's some things like there are Imperial Knights up there. There are collections from other games. This is peruse what's there. If something to your fancy and you got a couple of bucks to spare, know the bucks are going to a good cause. And then come Saturday, we're going to draw some winners, and somebody's coming away with these amazing things.
Black Orcs, Iron Skull Lads, Blood Bowl Black Orcs.
I love it. You're getting sucked in, because look, they're all spectacular, right? These are not all? They're amazing, and make sure they check out all the individual things, like the models themselves. The name of that Imperial Knight I was talking about is Baroness Aurelia. It's in the individual model section.
Okay. So
yeah, it is out of control.
Aurelia. All right. Whew.
Yeah, there's an Abaddon the Despoiler. There's several of the
What?
Sisters of Battle
Okay, yeah. I haven't
individual
even looked at it.
characters.
Okay, so let me see. So what's that's probably in models as well. Where's the Abaddon?
Yeah, it's on the second row there.
Here it is. Ezekiel Abaddon, more commonly known as Abaddon the Despoiler, is the War Master of Chaos, former first captain of the Sons of Horus.
God, talk about lore too. I will say that I have not always had the healthiest respect for Abaddon, especially because he was basically the enemy of the Blood Angels, and in time, and it still is, I guess. But
In many a time.
but when going through the lore and all the books, the new books, they show you that journey of Abaddon and how he gets to be in the position that he's in, and I'm hooked in. I can't say that I'm a fan. I'm of the character, and I would not get along.
No.
But I read every page that he's on. I guarantee that.
Yes. No, I know what you mean. Absolutely. To answer some people's questions, how and where do you enter the raffle? I've included links in this post. So if you're watching on Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube, click on the links that I've provided to the Nova Open Foundation website, and that'll bring you to the specific armies that you can buy raffles for, or raffle tickets for, or you can actually scroll up to the summer raffles portion and peruse the models, units, armies, and even special raffles that are going on right now. So we're just on the Nova Open website right now.
Yeah, add the tickets to your cart. Check out like you would be purchasing anything else on the web.
Yeah.
I would like to draw your attention also the Catechin Colonel, the very limited release chase model. The Catechin Colonel is also one of the things that people can throw their hat in the ring for. And it is painted immaculately with a pretty complex camo scheme. It looks awesome.
Which one is that? Oh, here it is. Okay, so that's under models.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
It's one of the models.
Digital.
Yeah. No, that color, that model is amazing. And that paint scheme is out of control. I mean, there's things here. If we haven't gotten this emotion across yet, there's some things here that I think people would want. And I said, the best thing about this is that it's not a lot, really. But I know not everybody can. But if you have the means of doing it, you might come away with something amazing. But when you see like over the years, they've been able to put just tens of thousands of dollars in the hands of folks that can really use it for some great things, enough to where the charities have even recognized the Nova Open Charitable Foundation for being an influential contributor. And that is a direct reflection of our community and what our community has done to do that and put them there. It's awesome. I could gush about it.
I'm getting kind of sucked in here to just look.
I know, right? Because this is so good. So this is, some of these models came from painters' custom, their own collections of things that they were planning on using and keeping for themselves. So, their extra showcase. And then some of this is stuff done directly for the foundation, like the Crimson Hunters Army.
Right. So a question here then. So all the stuff, like that video that we just watched right here, is that a video that Nova Open made? Or is that a display video that the artist made? And
that video was done by, I don't know exactly what you're doing, but there is someone on the Charitable Foundation who does once the miniatures get sent in, then they'll do the videos, they'll do the pictures, they'll do everything to make them look as basically just make sure you get to see all the details and then put the pictures on the web.
Thank you, Mike Vasquez, for buying some tickets for the Crimson Hunters. Awesome.
That is awesome. Good luck. Great. I mean, that's I will say one of the another neat thing is, like I mentioned on Twitter and that kind of stuff, when people get these and you start to see them on the tabletop and see the reactions of people, with their miniatures, it brings a lot of joy around, which is neat. And then sometimes, could be in short supply.
Denexus, thank you. Thank you for you said you have tickets and 5 items. That's awesome. Also got 5.
There any
Angus Hinton also got 5 for the Midwinter Minis one. Fantastic.
That is cool. Look, this, I'm telling you, Blackstone Fortress is one of those games that I love it. That and the Silver Tower is you can spend an evening playing them, and with buddies who again, the Warhammer 40,000 or Age of Sigmar may not be their thing, but something that they can kind of compartmentalize and pick up and put down like that is exactly what it is. And then you still get to spend an evening steeped in the lore.
Yeah, absolutely. Star Wars Legion too, so that's also included in here.
Oh yeah, there's tons of games in there. Peruse them. It's worth checking out, even if you just want to see what's on, or just like looking at minis.
Yeah,
I highly encourage people to check it out. And again, if I mentioned earlier in the show, but we're going to do myself and a compatriot on the podcast that I do, and several other things that I do. Adam Camilleri and another buddy of ours named Joshua Diffie are going to do a live show, 10 a.m. Eastern time to 1 p.m., where we're going to close out these raffles, and we're going to showcase as many of the artists we can. We're basically going to have a little party that morning to keep people on the edge of their seat.
So that's this coming Saturday. So in 3 days.
Yep.
Awesome. And is that Eastern time, you said?
It is Eastern time, and that's when the raffles close too. We're leading up to where the raffles close, so people have until then to get their tickets in.
Sweet. Have you played Legion?
Star Wars Legion? I have. I've actually got some models close by, but they're for a friend. So what I do is I'm more of I've kind of an enabler. I help my friends get their armies that they want to play on the table. Legion, I can't get into it. I'm a Warhammer 40,000 Age of Sigmar guy. That's what I do.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. I totally.
But I'm also a huge Star Wars fan, though. So
it's weird.
It's not like,
isn't that weird?
Yeah. Yeah.
I totally get it. Though. No, I'm a Star Wars fan too. But yeah, it's Warhammer. When it comes to tabletop minis, Warhammer.
It's the best in the biz, man. I'm telling you, when you get, I'm not a painter, and this is not on Raffle, and this is not, but I'm never too far away from Mortarion, so when you got models like this, like, come on, how do you not want to move around the table?
You know what I think? I think that had GW acquired the IP for Star Wars and made their own minis and had their own rule set that was similar, kind of like what they did with Lord of the Rings, it would be a different story. Like, that's not a slight against the company who makes Star Wars Legion, but because it would be GW, then there would be the amount of eyes on it would be different, right? It would be the amount of eyes and the type of eyes. That's just a thought. I don't know.
We are slightly spoiled though with the quality of our models. That's for our
I agree.
Our games.
Like, you look at the model difference, right, with the Legion models, and they're cool looking because they're Star Wars. Could they be better looking? Yes.
Well, they also have this established, IP already. Like with the movies, they have to look a certain way and be a certain way. I don't know if that influenced. I'm not a miniature designer. I have no idea how any of that works, but I have to imagine they're trying to stick into that. And 40K, Warhammer 40,000, like the world, nothing's too big. Nothing. You can be, just like the demons are demonic, the chaos is chaos, the heroes are heroic. There's no edge to the max on that scale, and they just keep pushing it. And I'm loving everything that comes out.
You bring up a good point there. With they have an aesthetic to their models already, so I think improvements definitely could be made, but there is only so much they can do because everything is kind of close to true scale, and they have a pre-existing aesthetic, which is actually, in my opinion, part of the draw, just because you're already familiar with so many of the characters and the unit types and their aesthetic.
Dude, I love it. I see what I play. My Blood Angels would be if I could just play anything, anytime, whenever I want. It's going to be Blood Angels. But I also play Astrum Militarum, Chaos, as you just saw, Death Guard specifically, mostly, but I also have some other Chaos. Eldari. I dabble a little bit, mostly Craft Worlds, but a little bit in the other things. Adeptus Mechanicus. Talk about in some of those are specifically Warhammer 40,000. Like, there's just unique to them, and what, again, it's just amazing models. But I could go on about the models all day. I know we're supposed here to talk about some of the other stuff, but just when you see great artists like showcase artists doing things with showcase miniatures, it's almost like otherworldly. And that's one of these things like the Charitable Foundation brings together, is puts those things together and then eventually puts them in the hands of someone that may not ever own anything like that normally.
Mm-hmm. Looking at a Lumineth of Haziah. I think I'm saying that right. Probably not.
It's close. If you're not right, it's close.
Haxia.
Oh, some of the other things like the units and stuff on there, they are for some of like the Warcry and Warhammer Underworlds. If you kick in for some of those and happen to win those, you never need another miniature. That is your full-on everything that you would need for those forces. That's another cool thing about some of the skirmish games.
One more time, I'm gonna take a look at the specials here.
I do love it. It just draws you in because they're so awesome. The specials and painting classes.
Yes. Yeah, I'm looking at that with Matt DiPietro. Contrast Minis, Private Lesson, 3 sessions, 3 winners. Awesome. Caleb Weisenbeck.
2 days, but at the time of our recording, 2 days and 21 hours and 55 minutes left to kick in some tickets.
Mastermind Models and Minis. There's another, your STL is brought to life.
So that's Gus Clay. He's really talented. He did a Titan, I think, for the last set of Raffles.
Oh, did he?
And it was pretty bonkers.
Cool. We threw in a lifetime Vault membership as well to the Mini Wargaming Vault. That's the last item there in the specials.
Look, if anybody listening doesn't have one of those yet, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they want to kick in for that?
All right.
I know, working the crowd. I can't see the chat, so I don't know if it's working or not.
Is shipping worldwide or just to the Americas?
Worldwide. Anywhere in the world. You can kick in from anywhere, and they will ship it worldwide, secure to your door. I know folks that in Australia that have won all the way to the other side of the world from where their home base is and arrived absolutely intact. No concerns there.
Hertz Plays asks, "Hey Dave, I was wondering, does the person who wins the lifetime Silver Vault membership get access to all the discount codes?" And the answer is yes, indeed, you do, because you're a Silver Vault member.
You mentioned, I know we jumped over it, but you said, and we talked about this in our pre-show, so you and I have actually talked about this before, but the lore for this custom warband of Chaos Space Marines. Mm-hmm. Like, what I'm looking forward to is someone getting into that, carrying that story forward, and then reporting back to you, for you to report back to us what's been happening with it.
Absolutely. That'd be super cool. Quipster, if you're listening to this, does it spark any ideas? We had an episode of The Shrine a few weeks back, and we were talking about that exact thing. In fact...
that is cool.
Yeah. And right away, he was asking a bunch of questions. He was like, so where were they during the Siege of Terra? What were they doing when the virus bomb was dropped? And like very specific questions that, if were answered, would help flesh out the lore, right?
So in your mind, do they go back that far? They're not new recruits. They're not like where in the timeline did they come from?
I'm thinking they're old. I'm thinking
because chaos can be from anywhere. Time does not exist the same way in the Eye of Terror,
correct,
as it does out here for the rest of us.
Yeah, I'm thinking it would be very appropriate if they were old, if they were stuck in that pocket of warp energy. Time passed differently for them. But in terms of the specific details, I think I agree with you. I think it'd be super cool if people came up with their own iterations of it and submitted those ideas. That'd be super neat. It'd be super neat to also see it played out on the tabletop via campaign form.
Oh, well, now you can do that kind of stuff with the Crusade stuff. Like I got buddies, they exclusively play Crusade.
Mm-hmm. I love playing Crusade. I've played a number of them so far, and I'll be playing more in the future as well.
Well, it's supported. I mean, what I love from this, Games Workshop is that they're supporting all these different styles and lines of play. So you get content for that kind of. It helps advance that, keep your play group energized.
So here's a question for you, listeners/watchers. When you play Warhammer right now, out of the different play modes, narrative match play, and I guess the last one would be open play. But narrative and match play, out of those two, let's talk about those two. How much do you play narratively? And I guess that's where the Crusade would come in, right?
I don't know, because narrative, it's almost a state of mind, more than anything else, because you can make a really efficient list and still be on brand for your story.
That's true. Because so what is Crusade something different? Are there actually 4 modes of play?
So Crusade, what you're able to do is, as you progress with your armies and your units, they can get attributes and traits and get access to things that are not available in match play. You have to basically unlock them through play, through a progressive type thing that is not available in match play. Match play
not matched. And it's kind of not open either, right? Because it has a system.
Yeah, so that's it. You've got so you can play. Granted, you can do this. You can take your thing to other groups that are inviting of it. But with a match play game, what I equate it is like when I walk into anywhere, any game store, anybody's gaming area or whatever, I could just rock up and say 2,000 points match play, and everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And that's what I love about that. You can basically walk into any store anywhere in the world, throw down, and you're all playing you know exactly what your understanding of the rule set is coming to the table. With Crusade, you've taken a path, you've taken a story, you're contributing to something that could be potentially larger than just an individual game. True. And I'm not talking about a tournament or whatever. You're not competing for who played the best of 9 or 8 individual games. You are playing for probably a different reason. You still want to win. I'm not saying you don't want to win, but you're telling the story of your sergeant who became a captain, who eventually was interned in a dreadnought, who then had this relic but lost it, and now because he's a grizzled veteran, he now for these many campaigns, he now can open up this stratagem that wasn't available to him before, and it gives you. It's like telling old war game stories. Old, campaign stories from a tabletop game with your buddies down the road. And it's And that's what I was saying is supported. There's rules for this type of stuff in every codex that's been released, every supplement that's been released. It's pretty neat.
I agree. Yes. And I'm actually just noticing right now, the Crimson Hunters, is going back to that for a second. Some of the Khorne helmets, I recognize those Khorne helmets as the Age of Sigmar Blood Warriors on Chaos Space Marine bodies.
That is awesome. I mean, if you're ever looking for a way to kind of spice up your World Eaters army, there's a lot of figures. I forget what they're called in Sigmar. I only play Sylvaneth and Deepkin really in Sigmar. But I think the Bloodbound, maybe? I don't want anybody to come at me because I'm speaking out of turn here, but the Khorne dedicated Chaos Warriors are amazing. And I can't convert. Like, I'm not a converter, but I'm a kit basher. I can take one of these excellent plastic kits, cut off a part in such a way to glue it on another plastic kit and feel like I've done something.
Yeah.
And if you're ever looking for parts, you can hit up the Khorne Warriors of Chaos from Age of Sigmar, and you will find no shortage of amazing bits.
Okay, so I need to ask you, because you brought up an interesting comparison there between kit bashing and conversion. So, in your mind, the kit bashing is assembling parts from different kits, whereas what's conversion in your mind?
Conversion to me would be like a sculpt involving putty or green stuff in any capacity beyond gap filling. Designing something from a base material, I think that would count into conversion territory, and I have zero of that talent.
Okay, so I see. So when you convert, it's definitely more, you're kind of transforming as opposed to adding.
Yeah. I think that's the case. At least in my mind, anyway. That's how I compartmentalize it.
Okay.
Because I think I'm a pretty good kit basher.
Uh-huh.
I am terrible at converting. That's the way I would define it. Because it's not the way I don't think that way. I can't look at a lump of clay or whatever and turn it into anything. I'm probably not going to paint anything other than paint by numbers kind of. That's, but I can look at a system, look at some component parts and assemble them in what I consider a pretty pleasing way.
Yes. Yeah, no, that absolutely makes sense.
And those models I was talking about make it easy because you're right. Oh, head swap here, a shoulder swap here, an arm swap here. The Astra Militarum is like blending I love all the human-sized stuff from the Games Workshop range because there are just so many interesting parts that you can make some pretty cool captains or lieutenants or commanders or whatever that really stand out. That's part of the joy I get from building things.
Yeah, me too. I enjoy kit bashing as well, and not to get all squirrel distracted here, but there's some cool Necromunda models that they're using as cultists here for the Crimson Hunters.
If you're ever hungry for some parts, I spruced up my AdMech force. When you're trying to make 40 Rangers, 40 Vanguard look unique, let me tell you, the Necromunda models, excellent resource.
They're fantastic.
The heads from the Caldor, I mean, just with their masks and different kind of biomechanical parts and stuff, they go a long way.
Absolutely, they're fantastic looking, and the Goliaths too. You can think of the cool units that you can make. Heck, you can convert up a unit of Chosen from with the Goliath kits.
They're big, so the Goliaths are kind of hefty looking models. Yeah. I play Goliaths in Necromunda as well, and they're beef looking models. I also had to get the Sump Croc. I think that's what made me decide on the faction was they have a crocodile mascot.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it's neat. It comes in like a 40 mil base or whatever, so it's pretty sizable compared to like you would. I think Space Marines would run away from it.
Ah, man, you know what? Okay, seeing this is giving me inspiration for conversion, or should I say, kit bash ideas.
There you go. Look, if we've enabled you to start another Chaos Army, I think we can say we've won here.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I think that's a good win.
That's one of the reasons I keep my feed like Instagram and Twitter. I just follow painters and builders and stuff. And when I look at like, oh, that's cool. Let me tell you, if people are posting pictures, they're not gonna mind if you copy the same thing. They'll probably love it that you copied the same thing. Mm-hmm. Why not take inspiration from others?
I really like seeing those models where there's like 5 or 6 different kits that they combine to make one model. Like those are super awesome. There's one on Instagram. You may have seen it. It's they do it's a demon Perturabo, Primarch Perturabo. And it's
I'm listening.
Big, like Bloodthirster size demon Primarch, but it's mechanical because Perturabo is mechanical, right? So it just looked insane. And it was GW parts and it looked awesome. Like it was nuts, completely from scratch. You could recognize the different bits that were used. And it's like, oh man, that's cool.
I'll have to try to find it. Perturabo is another one of those. If you were to if I were listing my favorite Primarchs, Perturabo would not have been high on the list.
No.
But in the lore, especially in the actual Siege of Terra books, he gets a little spice.
Yep.
That's one of the most brilliant. I mean, I know we're jumping around topics, but one of those brilliant things about the authors that they have is they're breathing life into these characters that, I might have just glanced over in a codex or in another novel, but I mean, I'm hanging on every word. Perturabo is one of those ones. There is a scene, speaking of Abaddon, and no spoilers, no spoilers in the comments or in the chat or anything, but there's a scene between Perturabo and Abaddon that you're hanging on every word and every page, and they are, I don't want to say defining for each of these because it's deep into their individual arcs and stories, but you see lots of things emerging and really coming together in several of these scenes, and it's brilliant work of the authors. Again, I know I'm jumping around and I apologize, but You bought our Perturabo, and I have a much deeper appreciation for him now.
All right, so just as a one final note to the listeners and the viewers, this has been a kind of a glimpse into the different raffles that are happening right now that will be drawn this coming Saturday. What time again, Paul?
10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to do a closeout live show. Come join us, talking about stuff, talking about the miniatures, talking about lore like this, talking about the game itself on the Nova Open Twitch stream. The raffle you have 22 hours and what did I say? 50 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Let me get you the exact time.
Something like that, yeah, and like 40 minutes now, probably.
22 days, 21 hours, and 41 minutes left from the time of hearing this right now. If you caught it live, if you heard it 21 hours from now, you have 2 days.
So thank you guys for tuning in and taking a look at this, and for those who have purchased raffle tickets already. And if you're catching this before the stream, make sure to grab your tickets before the draw happens. Crimson Hunters, the one that you're looking at right now on the screen, that's the one that has just a little bit of my involvement, but there's a ton of other armies and models and units and specials. So there's actually a lot of things that you can peruse here, and just have some fun looking at the things that are available. And thank you, Paul, once again for being a guest on the Shrine of Chaos, in the Shrine of Chaos, collecting Blood Angels and Chaos and Death Guard and whatever else. And
I play a lot of Warhammer. What can I say?
There's a bit of Warhammer certainly oozing from your veins, which I can appreciate, and so that's super cool. Here, let's go back here to show your face. So yeah, you've been a great guest and always welcome back. And any final words before we go?
Dude, thanks for having me. I do a podcast called Forge the Narrative, so if you want to check that out, please do. All that hobby I was talking about on Twitter at Warmaster_TPM, and on Fights with Dice on Instagram.
Nice.
Yeah, I basically try to post work in progress and completed stuff. Again, just to I try to be a part of those hobby avenues. And yeah, man, I really love being here. Thanks for having me.
And I've provided a link to Forge the Narrative YouTube channel as well in this post. So if you take a look at that, if you want to see Paul and listen to his podcast, you've been doing it for a long time, man. Number of years.
Yeah, enjoying it. And look, this is the thing about this hobby. There's always something new to talk about, always something new to do, and still loving every minute of it.
Cheers, guys. Stay tuned next week.